In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Well, that's how I usually begin a sermon. If I start by saying, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, you know pretty well that you're not going to get a sports commentary or a recipe or something like that. Those very words at the beginning give you a sense of what is to come. And there are lots of ways of beginning to speak which give a big clue about what's coming next. When I was about 7, I saw a film that began a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and the words went up the screen and you knew that there was a great epic coming. Something magnificent was about to unfold. And that's the way with words that introduce a story. Once upon a time, you know it's a bedtime story that's coming. And you know to pay attention if someone wags a finger and says, listen carefully, I will say this only once. How we begin what we are saying really matters. And we have one of the greatest examples of that in Scripture this morning, in this morning's Gospel. A piece of writing that is magisterial and magnificent, even 2,000 years after having been written, which has been translated not simply from one language to another, but is read in cultures and situations all around the world and maintains its magnificence. In the beginning was the Word. That's how it starts. But what does that mean it's about? I have a friend who is a Jesuit priest. He lives in the United States, and I don't really see him often enough. He's someone who teaches theology in a Roman Catholic university environment. He's given his life to that church, and he's a really interesting man. I wish I saw him more often. He happens to believe passionately that one day the Roman Catholic Church will ordain women on the same basis as it currently ordains men. And the last couple of times I've seen him, we've talked about this, and he said exactly the same thing. He says, do you know, Kelvin, at that service, when that happens, the first words of that service will be these: as the Roman Catholic Church has always believed. And that gives me a clue to something about what's going on in the prologue to John's Gospel. For one of the rhetorical ways in which we announce that things have changed completely and utterly is to say, as it was in the beginning, this is how it is. We retell things, retelling a whole story to incorporate some huge change. And so it is with John. He does not start with once upon a time in a stable in Bethlehem. He's not really interested in Bethlehem at all. He begins, in the beginning was the Word. And he starts telling this story about Jesus coming into the world, and he tells it by going right back to first principles and reframing the whole, everything that he knew, everything that his audience knew. In the beginning was the Word. It's fairly fundamental to me. I happened to learn theology in a college in Scotland where that was the motto of the college. It was outside the gate. You went under those words. Every day you went in to learn theology. In principio erat verbum. It's a Church of Scotland college, and they do like the Latin in the Church of Scotland. In principio erat verbum. In the beginning was the Word. What John is doing at the start of this gospel is retelling the whole narrative of history, everything that he knows, and retelling it in the context of having encountered someone. He knew that people had always believed that God was interested in the world. He was clearly part of a community that professed that. He knew that people had believed that God was an active participant in the world, and he knew all the many ways in which that had been described. God's activity in the world had been described as being the Word which spoke all things into being. That's not a new idea for John, but he grabs hold of it here. And God's involvement with humanity had been described in terms of holy wisdom, God's involvement with humanity. Holy wisdom, a figure, Sophia, holy wisdom, who roamed across the human imagination. Again, not a new idea, but one that John weaves into his writing. Holy wisdom, inspiring, bringing wonder, that aspect of God that conspires with humanity, that works with humanity to do God's business in the world. And God knows this tradition. And he writes his prologue reframing everything that he knew about the world by saying, you know everything that we knew, everything that we thought we knew about God. Well, I found it here in the person of Jesus. In the beginning was the Word. And that opens some doors for us. One of the things I've always been interested in at this time of year is that people from other faith traditions come into church at this time of year, to this church and to others. In the last few days, I am aware that we have played host to Hindus, Muslims, Jewish people, Druids, pagans. I dare say we've had some who think of themselves as spiritual but not religious, and some people who would prefer to tick a box that says, I prefer not to say. And I don't know why they all come at Christmas, but they do. And that's been a fairly solid experience over many years of my ministry. People know instinctively that where charity and love are found, that God is there, and it draws people. Whatever they've been told to believe, they can sense things, feel things. And it is not difficult for me to imagine that holy wisdom is still at work. That personification of God which stalks the human imagination, being at work in all those who come to this and other places, bringing people, whether or not they think of themselves as Christian, into the presence of God, to hear these stories, to think and reflect, and enjoy the idea of all that is good and true. But in this place here, and in churches around the world, we proclaim and believe that we have seen that all that is holy and all that is true finds its locus in Jesus Christ. And that's part of what John is doing in his prologue, setting that out. We bear witness with the same conviction that John did when he wrote this, that this is true. And remember, he didn't write this as a piece of Christmas poetry. He wrote this after knowing the whole of the story about Jesus. Not just the birth, but the life and the death and the resurrection. Just before Christmas, we hosted 2 funerals in church, just 2 days before Christmas itself. And at one of them, someone said something really beautiful in speaking about a musician. They said, even when someone is gone, you still hear echoes of them. Here in this place, the days are going by now. The festival of the Incarnation happened nearly 2 weeks ago. We read this gospel for the first time then, and we read it now as we let go of the feast and move into the new year. But if we stop and think, we will find that we can hear its echoes days later, and we will hear its echoes through the year that is to come. For the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. And holy wisdom herself will weave what we have seen and heard by the manger into the lives that we will live. She will help us to see that God is with us in our midst, wherever we go, in the days and weeks and months of this new year. She will help us to hear the echoes of this festival that we are about to let go of as the new year comes. And however this new year feels, she will keep whispering again and again, look, God is with us, loving us, caring for us, and inspiring us. As it was in the beginning, is now, and shall be forever and ever. Amen.